Hey guys, so today Stefan and I just hopped on a call and want to talk about some of the challenges with nomadic life.
All together.
Hello and welcome to Covert Castaway. I'm Holly.
Je suis Stéphane.
Join us as we share what we learned and how we're making the transition to liveaboard cruising. Oh my God, I miss you so much. It's been kind of tough to be apart, and I know it's been like a month or something. It feels like forever. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm lonely. I
Yeah,
count the days. It seems like it's getting closer, but at the same time, I realize, it's that many more days.
yeah,
So, yeah.
it's kind of far. Yeah, so what's been going on? You've been playing the Airbnb musical chairs over there.
Yeah, that was totally unplanned, but I had to change. Basically, so that was maybe 3 weeks ago. I forget. I changed Airbnb, so luckily we have the used car that we bought last year, so that's a blessing because it makes things easier to go to the store to pick up bigger stuff and then to move. But yeah, to move by yourself, go down the elevator, it
Yeah,
takes a
schlepping
bit
all
of
the stuff.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then moved into that new place, which I know at the time my priority was to try to minimize moving from Airbnb to Airbnb. And the place I'm at in La Grande Motte it's becoming like peak season, July, August. So it's hard to find something that is available
For
for
that
weeks at a
long.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely that was my priority to minimize the moves. And I guess I didn't either compromise or looking at all these different places, whatever. It didn't have AC, the
Yeah,
unit
and
I
it's so
was
funny
in.
because when you were showing me that, I was like, it doesn't really have AC, so like, how's that going to work? And you're like, oh, it's fine.
Maybe I don't remember. And then if there was like two windows, you could get like a little bit of a breeze, but it was just like one window. And so then you have to put the blinds because in the afternoon the sun shines on the window, so
Yeah,
you're in the dark.
so hot.
And then the bedroom was on the other side, kind of. So I had to have a fan on that night. So definitely that it had its challenges. And then when I moved in, the owner told me the previous person saw a cockroach.
Oh
And
no.
I'm like, oh, okay. So then I was like, so I kept my food like in a box that I found like under the bed. Like I was not keeping it under the bed, but I found a box under the bed that's like she probably keeps like sheets and stuff. So I used that to make sure like, not attract cockroach and so they don't go into my food. And yeah, after a couple of days, I saw one and then I saw another one a few days later, and I was like, okay, it's thinking it's probably anyway the only option I have because looking for a place now it's not going to be possible. So I was kind of compromising.
Mm-hmm.
But things kept evolving. And one night, good thing I kind of worked late at night, and because it was like midnight, 1, 2, and I started to see like everywhere, like on the floor, like plenty of little baby cockroaches. And I
That's
was
so
like, oh,
nasty.
I know. So I'm trying to like with tape that I had bought, so I'm taping them as I'm finding them. And after a while, I'm like, man, where did they come from? And then I realized there was like a rug under the table that had holes in it, and I realized there is like probably the mother cockroach that
Oh,
was
that's
there and
so
had laid
freaking
eggs.
nasty. I can't even. Oh my God.
So then I'm trying to vacuum the cockroach, and I'm like, oh, I'm vacuuming at 1 or 2 in the morning, and people are going to complain. Then I take the rug out to shake it, and then I left it on the balcony because I didn't want to put it back into the apartment. And then she had left me a spray, so I sprayed, in local places, and I'm thinking, okay, that was it, remove the rugs and sprayed and killed all these babies. But then the following night, I still see some on the wall, on the floor, and
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
that starts getting like too much.
It's so funny
at
because
first it was like,
I was just going to
anyway,
say,
I would
before you
find
go
some in the.
on, what was so funny is like you were kind of downplaying the cockroach situation. And you're like, oh, I found a cockroach, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. and then you're like, okay, I'm changing Airbnbs right now, and I'm like, what? And you're like, yeah, I found a few more cockroaches. So what you're telling me now is like a more evolved story. So there are babies everywhere, and they were crawling on the wall. Like what? That is so gross.
On the floor initially. The second night, I could see some on the wall and stuff, and so then every time I go in the bathroom, I will find some also in the bathroom, but never in the bedroom. So it was like, okay, but I had sent her another message, and I'm like, the situation is not improving. And then that was so yesterday that I moved. So yesterday morning, I get up and I think I found one in the bathroom, and I go in the kitchen and I found a bigger one, and I come back in the bedroom to go back to bed, and I find little ones.
Oh,
and I'm like,
gross.
okay, that's too much, and I'm done. And so that's when I kind of sent you a message, and then we started looking for other places, thinking like, there is no way we're going to find a place like,
I was a little bit worried. Yeah. But anyway, we found a place.
Super lucky.
Yeah, we found a place, and
'cause
you're moved in to the new place, which is over on the other side of the boatyard, which is actually closer to the boatyard, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's close to the beach.
Yeah.
The nice beach, South Sand. So it's nice. And this place, I'm the first renter.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody else in the building. They just opened that last week.
That's cool.
So there's it's all brand new. So I think they all renovated everything. So I'm pretty confident there won't be any cockroaches here.
Mm-hmm. and there's AC. Also, yeah, that's good because I was worried about that. Yeah, for sure.
And then as I was moving, I was packing my stuff. So I had to pack everything and shake everything to make sure I don't bring cockroaches here. So yeah, that was a little bit of a nightmare. And yesterday was a crazy day, and moving in the middle of the day, and so I was definitely exhausted.
Yeah, and I was worried you were gonna, have cockroaches in your luggage and then like bring it on the boat.
I definitely found like 4 or 5 as I was shaking every bag, all my clothes. There was but they were little ones. But I definitely found. So I'm hoping I haven't brought any here, and I still left everything in bags. But we have a balcony, so I'm going to unpack my bags, but I'm going to check everything again. Yeah, definitely. I don't want to bring some here, but I don't want to bring some on the boat either. So we have a month to kind of.
So that's the cockroach story. And, it's interesting living on just in the last year. We spent more time in Airbnbs, obviously, because we're boatless. And, we have been home and we've done some other things, of course. But, I'm at my sister's, and that's nice because it's familiar, and, you're with your family, and that's nice. I spent some time visiting Emily, and that was in a Airbnb. You just never know what you're going to get, once you get there. And
no,
it's been
last year, if you remember, in Montpellier, we found one, and we thought that was good and great area. And when we moved in, and you could see they had cleaned the place, and they had vacuum, it was still wet, the couch, but it smelled like dog, really, really bad.
Well, there was a couple things wrong with that.
There was no AC.
Yeah, there's a couple things wrong with that place. I mean, it was big, which was nice because you could kind of spread out. And this might be Montpellier altogether, is there's just a lot of construction going on everywhere. And so, you have the jackhammer right there under the window. And then, and so they clearly had a dog in the apartment. And so they did like you were saying, they shampooed the couch or whatever. So it was damp and smelled like wet dog. But also I refused to sleep in the bedroom because, to me, it just smelled like remnants of vomit. And I don't know. I just wasn't having any of that. So I slept in the twin bed almost the whole time. You didn't seem to like it. Just didn't seem to bother you, but I don't know.
I don't remember that smell. No.
Yeah, that was nasty.
But definitely there were quite a few issues.
Yeah.
And I think
but the kitchen was nice. It was like it was well equipped. Like it had everything you could ever imagine and need, like in the kitchen and stuff, which was nice. And it was hot, but it wasn't in the direct sunlight, so you could get a breeze through. But man, it was just the smells. So yeah, that was interesting. I think.
Yeah, good.
I was just going to say, I think the other thing is just in all of this past year has been just all of the flights and flying. And again, I'm not complaining. This isn't meant to be a complaining podcast, just sort of sharing the realities of nomadic living is just the airline situation. I just feel like the airlines after COVID forgot how to fly planes, like every single flight I've been on, for instance, it shows up at the airport and then you have to wait another 30 minutes to even like get to the gate because the gate isn't ready. And that's not something I understand. It's not like it's not like it's a surprise that the plane is coming, and they can certainly track it. So they know exactly when it's going to land or when it's supposed to land. So I don't understand how the gates are literally never ready. And then the other time I was flying from France to San Francisco and then San Francisco to Australia. And I got on the plane. We all got on the plane in Charles de Gaulle, and everybody's like situated. Everybody got on the plane and they were like, oh, we have an equipment failure that's going to take some time. So then we sat there for another hour. And then they say, okay, we can't resolve it, so you're going to need to get off the plane. So we all get off the plane, and we're stuck in the jetway because it's an international flight. They all checked us out of the airport, so Charles de Gaulle wouldn't accept us back in. And so we're all stuck in this like hot jetway, and everybody's super uncomfortable because you're not used to being that close together. I think generally people are more aware of personal space. And so it was just really hard for people to, be that close. And so finally, the lady at the door, she needed some bureaucratic, approval to get approval to let people back into the, into the terminal. So we finally got back into the terminal, like it must have been 40 minutes later. So we go back in, we start rebooking all of our flights. The flights are rebooked. And then they say, just kidding, we got the plane to work, get back on the plane. So we get back on the plane and, we get up in the air, we fly for like an hour and a half, we're over the UK, and the captain gets on the whatever, has his headset, and he starts saying, the system went out again, so we're going to have to turn around and take you back. And so turn around and they took everybody back, and it's just like, oh my God. So needless to say, I missed my connecting flight, so I had to rebook everything. But it's just, it's understandable things like this happen. It's just like, wow, what has it's just every flight there's a problem like that, it seems like.
And then when you have like you to go from Paris to San Francisco and then you're turning back after an hour and a half, that means they dumped the fuel.
Oh yeah, then they had to dump all the fuel, which is like, yeah, it's so not awesome in
a lot of fuel.
So many ways. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting, but schlepping the bags everywhere and living out of suitcases is getting a little old. I'm looking forward to like being on the boat, and we'll have all of our stuff. We'll have a place to be. So, and hopefully there's no cockroaches.
Yeah.
On the boat.
Well, at least hopefully there's not in the because the boat is all open. Or mice, anything.
Oh man.
Yeah. And then the other thing is from, if I had only a bag with my clothes, that would be easy. The problem is because we retrieved our personal stuff at my parents' house and drove it down here. But now it's like having the great idea of like having all these diving equipment.
Oh yeah, diving, kiteboarding,
kite surfing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all these bags that I'm not using, and then I have to like carry around. So plus I have your stuff.
Yeah.
Keep a couple of bags Outremer in storage, but yeah, I don't want to put the diving and kite surfing in a hot container, so I keep it with me.
Yeah.
But
it
yeah,
definitely
that
makes you
definitely,
reevaluate.
and
Like
then
when you're living out of suitcases, it definitely makes you reevaluate what you actually need. I found myself giving stuff away. Like I'm with my sister, I'm like, oh, do you like this sweater? Do you want it? Do you like these, sweatpants? Do you want them? Because I'm kind of trying to get rid of stuff I'm not going to use. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
oh, and then there's the stuff, all the tools,
Oh,
stuff that I'm buying.
Yeah.
So I have that extra. So definitely I had to do like 2 trips kind of to make it. I knew I would not fit everything in the car. So
yeah. So what's going on with the boat? Yeah, give me an update on the boat. I saw the pictures from this week, which is kind of cool. The new artwork got put on, and things are definitely progressing. She's getting her fishnet stockings put on, which I think is so awesome. The black net or whatever trampoline is getting put on, which is kind of cool. What else is going on with it? You went over there to the boat.
The biggest worry is the splash date keeps being postponed. And but the delivery date, the important one, is not being postponed. So on one way, I'm like, okay, it's fine.
I don't understand that. It's like it's like the boat's not going to be in the water for another week, but then the delivery date is staying the same. I'm not quite understanding what's happening. Have you gotten a straight answer?
When the boat is being put in the water, anyway, they continue to do some work to basically free space in the factory. And and they continue to do some of that work. So they can definitely do that work to continue to do that work in the factory. So all this is fine. And in this case, the reason that now the splash date has been moved to July 20, which is the same day you're arriving, but I doubt, I'm not sure what time on that day.
They better wait till I get there. Wouldn't that be like so ironic if they were splashing it as you were picking me up at the airport, which would be so sad.
maybe you'll have to take not Airbnb, to take an Uber or something, a taxi to come. Maybe I'll have to stay
and take video.
To watch that. But, basically, what's happening is the mast is going to be delivered on the 17th of July. So they need about those 3 days to prep the mast, all the wiring, all the equipment that goes on the mast. And then, now the new date is July 20 to splash it. So they probably want to splash the boat, put the mast on the same day while they have all the heavy duty kind of equipment there. And also they want the people from Nani, which is the new engine, new brand that we're getting, to be there as well. So I'm assuming by the time the boat is being put in the water, everything or close to everything will be done. So after that, it leaves only a couple weeks, but the important stuff that needs to happen in a couple weeks is the testing, obviously, doing kind of your quality control of the boat, so especially for the engine. So the people from Nani needs to be there to do some tests and stuff, since we're the first boat. And then on the 25th or 26th, we have North Sails coming. So we have to do a sail trial. So all this will have to be done in basically a couple of weeks, 2 weeks. And then we'll get 2.5 weeks, I guess. And then we'll get the boat delivered to us on August 7th. Yeah,
and we need to leave right away, it seems like, because, we need to bring the boat back in September what?
Well, we cannot leave right away. So on the August 7th, that week, we get the training from Outremer. So that's...
no, after the training and stuff, right? We only have a week. We have a week of training, but then we need to leave, right?
No? No, I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay.
So the week of the 7th is the training. Then it's a big 4-day weekend in France with mid-August. So basically Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's all 4-day weekend. And And on the 16th, we'll get Romain Ranger coming on the boat to help with the installation and the integration of the NME bus radar and CAI to Octopus, so the computer that we're putting and using as a primary navigation / routing system.
Okay, so let me just clarify what that is. So the CAI is the same thing as the Oscar, which is the camera, the heat detecting camera or whatever that's on the top of the mast, and then the Octopus is the navigation software system. Is that right? Yeah. And so then they're gonna and they're gonna train us on all that too. So that happens that second week.
Well, the training is going to happen prior. We're going to go to their office and we'll have a 3-hour training on the application itself. But that means August 16th, that's going to happen. So all this should be done within a day. And then starting August 17th, then we need to start doing, that would be like the first time we can probably officially, to the two of us, cast off and leave La Grande Motte, probably stay close at first while we continue to do some additional testing. But that means we will have 6 weeks to do our shakedown. So it's going to be definitely very much focused on sailing and testing, because we have to bring the boat back at the end of September. So 6 weeks is enough time, but at the same time, 6 weeks can go by pretty quickly.
Yeah, it'll go fast.
Get into the shakedown mode, right?
Yeah, super excited about that, though. I think it'll be fun and interesting and scary, and it's just the next phase. So I'm really looking forward to that. And so we're about a month away from all that happening, pretty much. Right? I mean, maybe 5 weeks away from all that happening. So that's going to
be... Well, we're July 8th, and we get delivery August 7th. So exactly a month,
Yeah.
And then we were talking about the adventure of the nomadic life and whatever we've experienced on land with Airbnbs and travel. We're now going to experience on the boat, which has its own set of challenges.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a lifestyle choice, and you have to understand that there will be some of those challenges of the cruising lifestyle, and then we'll get probably reminded very quickly. There is ups and downs, and you just have to go with the flow.
It's so funny you say that, because my sister was saying something like, and by the way, like, I love my sister, but we're very different in terms of our concept of time. I like to be on time, and she's more like you. Like, she doesn't really have any respect for time. Anyway.
I do.
Anyway. So, she said something to me like, oh, this might take a while. Are you okay waiting? And I was like, oh, of course. Yeah, no problem. And I realized to myself how much I've changed just in the last, few years in terms of just my being relaxed about time. Because when you're on the road or traveling or waiting, or your flights, or, the boat, or, something, it's just your whole concept of time changes, and you get a lot more relaxed about, being patient, I guess. So I feel like I've really grown in that area versus what I was in the beginning when we first started this adventure, and certainly, first started the podcast too. So I don't know. I think that's growth, right?
Work in progress.
Okay. Well, speaking of time, I have an appointment, so I have to jump off the phone. But it's good to catch up with you, honey, and we'll talk soon. But I think it's a good update, and I'm glad we could get you out of that Airbnb situation, because I would have showed up at the Airbnb, and you would have been like, place would have been swarming. You'd be like bug life. So gross.
No, you will have not lasted.
No, not 5 seconds. I mean, look, I grew up in a log cabin, literally a log cabin. So I'm okay living like camping, but if you're spending that kind of money for an Airbnb, like, no. Anyway, Yeah, so we also wanted to get people's input on any topics that you might be interested in us covering. We would love to hear those, so make sure you send us an email at sailingowen@gmail.com.
And
Yeah.
and we never remind people or mention it, but if you have a chance, if you enjoy the podcast, give us 5 stars. What it does, it helps kind of other people find the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, only give us 5 stars if we
because
deserve 5 stars, right? Like, I mean, we would like 5 stars, but maybe we're not that interesting. I don't know.
Well, if you've been listening all these episodes,
we'd love the
probably
feedback.
enjoying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely helps to what we find out is people discover the podcast like kind of randomly. But I guess that one way to help other people discover it is through ratings.
Yeah.
And then there's a bigger chance people might discover it, and hopefully they get value also out of what we share.
Yeah. Cool. Fair winds for now.
Bon vent.